Hey everybody, so before this starts I should probably state the claims I'm about to make you don't have to agree with. I'm not here to try to convince people one thing or another. That's not what I'm trying to do here. Everything I say will be backed up with evidence of some sort, and if not, it'll just be pure observation. If any of this situation turns out that I just mischaracterized completely, I will make an apology immediately, a public one, and I will donate to whatever charity or organization the family behind this account decides that I should donate to. So, I should probably also state that before you make any judgments purely over the topic and the content of this video, I do ask that you just listen to what I have to say and just kind of sit on it. I don't really want anyone to personally think this. I don't want anyone to go one way or another because of this video. All I want to do is get some skepticism in there. I should probably start by stating why I'm so skeptical. People on the internet claim to die a lot. You have some notable examples. You have extreme gamers from a while back who faked having a liver disease that was going to kill them in less than like a month, and then you also had the other brother who had deathly vertigo. You have that example of the guy from the Splatoon community on Twitter who claimed he had cancer for several months, died, and then came back a few days later on his main account and made a huge apology. The main message here is people claiming they're dead is not exactly baseless. And that's kind of what got me immediately thinking about PlussyKnight, because there has to be some skepticism here. You can't really just drop off the face of the earth and denounce it through Twitter immediately. So there are two options we have here that I personally think there's a 100% chance it's one of these two. A, we don't know the full situation and we're missing a vital piece of truth or evidence of some kind. Or alternatively, we have B, which means someone's definitely lying about the whole thing. Now, I will be advocating for A, but I will be presenting evidence that it's up to you to really decide where it goes. I personally don't want to believe that somebody would lie about this kind of thing. I don't want to believe someone would misrepresent the truth in a way that would personally just harm and hurt people this much. And this is what I might be implying, but this won't be what I'm advocating for. This won't be the whole message of this video. Me saying anything vaguely negative or vaguely vilifying, I don't want it to sound that way. I really don't. I wish that certain things I could not present that way, but there are things that just don't make sense here, a lot of red flags, and the situation just is not as clear as it looks. So first of all, we can establish kind of a timeline here with Corona. On July 25th, which from this video was 3 days ago, he contracted coronavirus after a test. The day before, though, he said anyone else feeling really pog today, which doesn't really mean anything, but certainly means that if he was feeling any symptoms or anything, it wasn't really evident to him or enough for him to tweet about. From there, you have a bit of a thread saying that he has some attention on him, doesn't want to die, certainly like that, notably asking people for support. I would imagine this most likely got him some attention, since it's very rare in communities for people to have someone with corona and not kind of advocate for them. The same is true with any disease. He says on the 26th, which is a day later, it's kicking in. Though notably, we still don't really... There's nothing here that really shows that he had symptoms or any need to be skeptical. I haven't reached out to friends he had made on Discord, but I imagine it would be almost the same thing. I saw some stuff in the main thread where last messages from him on Discord were stuff like, why is nobody joining my arena, which I think is referring to Smash, and stuff like that. So I don't really think we would get much from there. About 20 hours ago, though, on the 27th, he said, "This is probably my last tweet. Things aren't looking good for me at all, and I don't want to let people think I'm alive and kicking after not saying anything. If anyone wants to carry on my legacy of PlussyKnight, you can DM me, and I'll give you the password. Love everyone, and bye." So this got him a significant amount of attention, not just from the Alpharad community, but from gaming communities all over the board. I personally am involved with Pokemon, and I had heard of this account by this tweet. And then the hour later, you get, this is Ethan, who's PlussyKnight's mother. He just passed away a few minutes ago. His last words were, "Love this world until it's here. He told me to get on Twitter and let you all know because it's awful if they don't. I hope this is the right account. I don't want to say this again." And then 14 hours ago, Ethan's mother tweeted again, "Ethan's mom here again. I got to tell you all that we're doing funeral plans soon. We're holding up and that I love you all. But I didn't know so many people loved and cared for him. If anyone needs me, please let me know. I've been kept awake from thinking about him." And then she said, #remember PlussyKnight. He was an amazing son who found a loving community. Now, I think that's pretty inoffensive, and that's the last major tweet thread we got. Following that, though, Alpharad did make a video addressing this, notably starting a fundraiser for affected people. He asked the family for it, and they refused. And we can also establish a little bit of a timeline later, well, around this time, I would say, where someone asks, they are making a documentary, and they requested to talk to some of his IRL friends, or I think family, they also mentioned, and we get that he did not have any IRL friends, and he didn't get any IRL friends to contact. It was all through online. That's why he valued the community so much. And that's kind of when I was thrown out a little bit. Because here's the problem. If someone wants to make a documentary about this, you would imagine that if he had no IRL friends, the family would reach out, especially to talk about someone who's recently departed and has gotten so much attention and love from this community, but there's nothing there. You'd also imagine he would have some kind of physical representation of friendship. Even though this quarantine thing has kind of made everything a little bit weird, I personally, even the people I know who are majority online, have one or two people they reach out to in real life. It's not really unfounded to say that he had to have somebody out there. So that's when I started digging. Now, the timeline, we're going to change a little bit here. We're kind of going to go around. I don't want to necessarily make any claims yet without presenting what I can see in front of me here. So, some background information is PlussyKnight was a member of a Discord called the PlussyCast, which is all devoted to Alpharad Plus's channel and kind of making their own original content around that fan base. And about 6 days ago, we got a strange tweet that said, "I can't believe I've received punishment for doing literally nothing. We live in a society," as well as several other tweets that kind of point to him not being very pleased with the same community. So after looking, it appears that these people are all people from that PlussyCast thing. There was some sort of beef that I believe was in their Discord. I'm not going to go through all of this guy's tweet replies, try to make out something, but from what I can understand, it was through their Discord, and I think he was taken off of videos. Notably, when I looked at the Plussy and Dragons series on their channel, he said he was a part of it, yet in the credits he's not there. I believe that he was taken off of this video production. Certain videos he was featured in were either deleted or just not posted, which is very odd to consider. And notably, this is 6 days ago. If we can build a timeline, this is only 4 days before he would be given coronavirus. So I'm not going to apply anything by that yet, but it's certainly clear that he did not really end anything well with this community, and by the end of it, he felt betrayed, he felt beaten, he felt isolated. That's what I can gather from these tweets. Now, I'm making some assumptions about how he's felt, but you can clearly see that he was frustrated, maybe even considering this some sort of personal issue. He talks about personal stuff coming up and needing a day or two off from posting on his Twitter. After that, 2 days later, he comes back, has 2 tweets, and then he gets diagnosed with coronavirus. So the weirdest thing I would say off the bat about this is, so he has a fight with a piece of the community, a fan base, and then what he sees as the fan base, and then he gets angry, and then a few days later he gets coronavirus. Something there is not adding up. There's sort of this weird correlation I think I can see from it, from the evidence I've seen. As I've said, this video isn't really meant to villainize or make you swing one way or another. It's just meant to be a little bit more skeptical of the situation. On the 21st, you also have his tweet, "I want to make sure I last as long as possible. I want to be consistent throughout modern Plussy history, and hopefully nothing in life changes that." really weird. He talks about life and death a few times, mostly life and like the rest of it. And this is on the 21st, which is the day he says, "I can't believe I've received a punishment." This is following something pretty bad, and he already sort of, I'm not going to say foreshadow, but there's definitely something here. So, from there, you would probably make a few connections yourself regarding what could have happened. I'm not going to say quite yet what I think of all this or make what I think is my own version of the timeline. All I'm going to say is these people now are behind him. They're supporting him. The PlussyCast channel is still up. All of this information is still there. And yeah. Okay, so now is kind of going to be a little bit weird, and I hope you'll bear with me. I'm not a medical professional. I actually suffer from an immune system disorder, and because of that, I've kept myself pretty busy in regards to researching coronavirus and keeping up with it. The oddest thing here is he was diagnosed with corona on the 25th, passed away 2 days later. A little bit over that, I think, but 2 days later. This is kind of unfounded. I found some research and some studies, and the minimum number of days someone had died from coronavirus is 10, and that person already, I believe, had issues. For most people, though, it will be a while longer. Coronavirus symptoms are not something that will hit you like a truck. I mean, it will, certainly won't kill you that quickly. Coronavirus is a persistent virus. It does not just bombard you with all of this and then 2 days later, poof. Coronavirus is solely a persistent virus. Mild cases are 2 weeks. You can certainly see some deaths from that. And severe ones are 6 weeks, and that will require hospitalization after a certain while because your body will not be able to fight it at such a amount of time. I know some people will probably be fact-checking me on this, so please go ahead. The only correlation to 2 days I could find is something regarding a wedding in India, and after looking at the article, it says that the groom died 2 days after his wedding, not 2 days after his diagnosis. He was diagnosed a while before that. Before his wedding, had it anyway, passed away 2 days after his wedding. So you have something a little bit odd here in the timeline. I'm not going to say it's biologically impossible for someone to die of corona after 2 days, because that's dismissive. If you're elderly, if you have immune system wreck problem like HIV, which just destroys your immune system, or AIDS, it'll be a lot harder to fight off. But from what I can see, this person was healthy enough. There's been no mention of any health issues by the mother who's been on the Twitter. And yeah, another thing is there's no mention of hospitalization. You would think that there would be something like going in the emergency vehicle now, going in the ambulance, but there's nothing about that. But then again, though, there's certainly nothing that says the contrary. But I would think that if you were in the throes of coronavirus beside a hospital bed, they probably wouldn't let you tweet. And he has, I think, 3 or 4 tweets from this coronavirus situation. I don't believe a hospital would really let you do that. So another thing I want to point out is an hour after he dies, his mother posted. That's very weird. And it's such like a clear and concise statement. Like, you can tell everything here is deliberate. You have quotes. It itself is just formulated exactly like it. You can see a repetition of commas, much like his longer statements. It just feels really concise and thought out when I don't know. If my son died, I would not immediately go on Twitter. Even at his request, I would not go on Twitter and just make a clear and concise statement regarding this. I would be way too upset, especially in the span of an hour. Like, I get that this person's entire life, the mom claims, was online, but even then, you have some issues there. You have family you want to inform. You have family friends. You have this whole sector of people. Not to mention that you'll want to get over the grieving process yourself to even admit to all these people about the son's death. But no, you don't really see that. It's a very odd circumstance. And now I'm finally going to go back to the drama I mentioned earlier. So if you go to the PlussyCast channel now, they got a significant amount of subscribers from this. Now, I'm not going to say that they worked with him to get these subscribers because it just doesn't seem that way at all. They uploaded a few days ago. Nothing seemed wrong. And then they haven't made a video addressing it. All the people in it have done the Remember PlussyKnight or whatever tag. I don't know. It's just odd how he seemed to have a fight with these people, and he clearly wanted to make content. You can see on his Twitter that there's a lot of mentions of how he wants to make content, how he wants to have an audience, and I believe he saw the PlussyCast as that way to do it. You know, he can cater to the people he finds important. He can cater to the fan base that he identifies himself with. And then something comes up, and that's suddenly jeopardized, and he talks about how he's being punished. In fact, he got so upset, he just started tweeting a lot less, started getting very clearly upset. He claims he literally does nothing. Now, I don't know any of this. I don't know any of the drama. I haven't contacted the people within this Discord or within this community because I don't really think that's relevant. When there are so many other red flags I can easily research, I don't really need to reach out to these people when this is just one red flag among many. Someone said, "You're just salty, come back tomorrow," and he was not very happy. He said, "Well, fuck you then." Well, he says frick, and he says, "Fuck you too." And it's kind of clear that whatever happens, it wasn't very pleasant. I think he took this very personally, and he took this pretty consistently as well as something that's bad. It's not good. He finds himself, saying, "I was punished for nothing." It's clear from the start that there's kind of a disconnect here between what we are told happens and something going in the background. And I think because all of these people that started following him and giving him attention, you can kind of see some sort of consistency here. In the first tweet from 19 hours ago here, from Ethan's mother, the first one says, "He just passed away a few minutes ago. His last words were, 'Love this world until this year.' He told me to get on Twitter and let you all know because it's awful if they don't. I hope this is the right account. I don't want to say this again." So from the later accounts, this is a lot less positive. It's a lot more negative. While it's still clear and concisely worded, it doesn't carry the same "love you all" thing. It's very direct. It seems like it's something almost kind of spiteful. His last words were, "Love this world until this year." This year is when he got involved with this community. He joined in July of 2020. This isn't just a random occurrence. He's talking about the PlussyCast. He's talking about his involvement in the Plus community. And then I think the people within the Plussy community, as well as gaming Twitter, all started to give in to some sort of tension. And you see the tune completely change. I didn't know so many people loved and cared for him. If anyone needs me, please let me know. I've been kept awake from thinking about him. Remember PlussyKnight, he was an amazing son who found a loving community. And there are other mentions of, "I love you all. I love this community," like that. And it's very odd to look at because, yeah, but you're his mother. Have you really been going through his Twitter? If you did, you wouldn't find this community very loving. Maybe the recent reception would do that, but it's clear that PlussyKnight has a past. He doesn't really identify with these people as much as he used to, especially with the drama. It's a little odd. I'm not sure what to think about that connection, especially if we're going to go on the terms that maybe there's some sort of lying here and he did not die like other things, and there's kind of a weird connection from going from hostile and direct, that getting a lot of attention, about 19k likes from when I'm recording now, to his attitude later. I don't know. It's very reminiscent to me of somebody just doing this all out of spite, finally getting attention and saying, "Oh my god, what have I done? I need to put a positive spin on this." Because, ultimately the community came for him. He might still not like the PlussyCast all that much, but they still came for him. It's very odd in general. I'm not really sure what to think about it, honestly. Because in one hand, you kind of have this situation where I think it's possible that we're not getting the truth. Because it's impossible from a medical and just minimally researched standpoint that coronavirus would do this to somebody. It just can't happen. Let's analyze this quickly. The average for somebody, if someone's going to die from corona, it's going to be over 14 days after they experience symptoms. Someone who has had trouble in the past with their health and their immune system, perhaps from being older or perhaps from a pre-existing condition, that was 10 days. And we have this person who, from we know, is pretty healthy, nothing wrong with them, and within 2 days they're gone. Even unhospitalized, that would not really be possible, because that's not fundamentally how coronavirus works. And when I brought this up on Twitter, I got a response like, well, maybe he had some other sickness or illness, like a cold or flu on top of it, and no, he would just experience both of those symptoms. Neither one would really kill him. I'm not really sure about coronavirus's like potency when it comes to introducing like another disease, but I don't really think it would do anything. And he seemed to just have experienced all these symptoms at once. You'd think if you got one and another that they would not have around the same time of infection or the symptoms starting, but apparently that happens. Something about it just seems off. Besides that, I just want to make a quick correlation between something. A lot of what PlussyKnight talks about is love everyone and bye. He says love everyone a few times towards the end, and he addresses all this attention he's getting. And then Ethan's mom also says, I love you all, I love all of you, I love everyone, I love this community. And it's just, I don't know. I don't think that if I was a mother reading through these tweets that my first reaction would really be, I love everyone, I love you all, thank you so much for the support through all this love. Like, yeah, there's love coming, but you should be. It's your son. You're not the mother of this community. You're the mother of your son. All this love is meant for him, and well, yeah, it definitely should be appreciated. It's not really what's important right now. It's not really what someone would really keep mind of, and the community itself. Like, yeah, but if you're an older person looking through these tweets, you wouldn't immediately think, oh, he's all a part of this big community and know the community right out. You just be like, oh, it's something with gaming. Alpharad also asked if he could give them money through a fundraiser or something, and they're like, no, just donate to charity. Now, here's just a personal kind of opinion that I just wanted to present. So, I don't believe PlussyKnight was hospitalized, kind of because of everything, all of this, and why wouldn't you accept that money if that's the case? Like, I get your son has been deceased, but clearly there would be an issue here. I don't know if that would be strictly a financial issue or an issue with resources, but there's something kind of wrong with that. From just a pure, like, outside guy looking in perspective, it's not really great to make that decision, especially right after your son died. This fundraiser was probably 4 or 5 hours after all that. To make such an impulsive decision like that, I don't really think would be appropriate, because you don't know the situation. Even funeral costs add up, especially funeral costs, because if you're burying your son, it's not going to be cheap. A funeral is not cheap. All this stuff is not cheap, and I think Alpharad was thinking that when he offered that, and they still refused. I don't really understand that. I don't really get that. A lot of people will probably go in the comments and say, you should respect their perspective on it. And, I mean, if it's true, I completely do, but it's just the situation all around it would certainly kind of hint to them kind of needing that in one way or another, especially if they have a deceased son. Extra resources from the people who care about him, the community, would be appreciated, especially if it was a funeral or something. There would be people who were down to make it something definitive for someone within this community with an individual and unique personality, and clearly surrounded by people that enjoyed him in his presence. So I've gotten some stuff on Twitter about this, some people pointing out some stuff to me. So one of the first things I got was he wasn't even displaying symptoms of corona. Now, I don't think this is true. Corona kind of has weird, unique symptoms that kind of change in between cases. Not really just depending on immune system power, but depending on other factors as well. There are just so many red flags here. There seems to just be, I don't know. The mother thing is the first thing that kind of got me going, wait, there's something up here. Then I kept kind of going on, and there's reading this whole profile, and there's a problem with corona and the drama, and I'm going to go with option A personally, because even though all of the red flags is presented, I just cannot believe someone would get this much attention and keep up with a lie. Honestly, that would just be heartbreaking, and I don't think that anybody with a normal semblance of personality, honesty, or just basic moral code would be able to do that. So before I get comments being like, fuck you, man, you're saying all this shit about this poor guy, I am advocating for A. I don't think he got corona. Now, maybe he was misdiagnosed, but the coronavirus test is pretty good with diagnosing that sort of thing. Maybe we just don't understand the family dynamic here with the mother. You know, there can certainly be stuff happening on. As for why he wasn't hospitalized, because the symptoms started up so quickly and within a span of 2 days, like maybe they just didn't have the time, didn't have the resources in hand to really do this. I don't know. But I want people to be skeptical. So I'm going to say kind of my side of B and how I think if we want to believe this person's lying, like so many people on the internet have done about mental health and death before, that we should really look at this from that angle as well. So I'll just briefly explain this because I don't want this to be the pillar of the video to be like, haha, this person faked death, because I'm taking this incredibly seriously. I want you guys to know that I'm taking this seriously. I don't want to profit off of this. I don't want anything to happen to this individual or his family. I just want to explain how this could easily be interpreted as being something borderline malicious and lying. So a few days back, he starts the PlussyCast with some friends. I don't know if he's a founding member or if he came on later, but he was involved with it at a certain point. He wants to create content. He wants to be a creator and get people to laugh, like Alpharad. Then after that, he does something that requires action from the people within PlussyCast. Now, I couldn't find a tweet relating to this, so I assume it's Discord drama or drama within the PlussyCast Discord. It could not be. It could be personal drama that he brought on the server. I don't know. I'm not going to reach out about it. If you guys want to reach out to these individuals, I would discourage it, regardless of whether you think this is all true or if it's just a little bit of a lie. These people certainly think it's true, and I don't want them to be emotionally harmed or anything from this. And he gets rejected from the channel. He gets kind of like thrown out. It requires action, which is why some content he made is just not there. He's not credited once on the channel. This causes him to get mad, and all this content is gone. His dream of being a content creator he sees is sort of out the window because he couldn't even identify with this part of the community. So he fabricates getting corona, looks up symptoms online, and when he realizes that this is something he's going to have to carry on for a while, he just quickly goes over it for some quick retribution to his friends in a matter of spite, for rejecting him and, making them feel bad for what they've done because now he's gone. Once this starts getting attention, he makes the mother character up to kind of make claims and make statements. From what I've seen, the mother has not once presented anyone with physical evidence. No media, no screenshots, no videos, no pictures of anything has been within this saga. I don't know. That's how I see it. Now, some closing remarks I'm just going to make. Do not harass this individual about this. I don't care. I don't want anyone to harass this individual, even if we find out that a part of it was not true, there's something up with a part of it, or the whole thing's false. Don't harass this individual. I don't think this came from him knowing that it would go this far, if it's true. If what I've stated is true, I should clarify. Don't harass Alpharad. I've messaged him my thoughts on this. I've messaged him the details on all his channels. He has yet to respond to me. I think I've made myself pretty clear with what I think about this whole thing. And my final thing is, if you're going one way or another in this thing, I do thank you for watching this video. If you're skeptical on it, I don't encourage you to harass this individual. I just encourage you to look through some of the logs, look through this Twitter, make an opinion for yourself. Maybe it agrees with me, maybe you don't. And just be well-researched and skeptical about this sort of thing in the future. And all the people who disagree with me, I am fine with your opinion. I'm fine with what you think. But you can't deny that there are a bunch of red flags here, a bunch of issues within the story. And it's definitely a good Twitter story, but when you apply some of this logic to real life, there's kind of a weird shift between reality and how the story works. I would encourage you if you didn't like this video, to just go over his profile and kind of look for any inconsistencies yourself. At the end of the day, I'm not the ultimate authority. I'm not telling you to believe one way or another. I'm just presenting my own thoughts on this. I'm presenting how I think about it and why it's possible that is not who they say they are, and they have not gone through what they say. And if all of this video is baloney and the family's offended, I will be happy to donate money to a charity of your choice or yourself. I am sorry for the loss of your son if this is true. I will publicly apologize on either my Twitter or YouTube, and I will be very regretful of what I've said. But I will not deny that I think that people should be skeptical about this sort of thing, especially with how common it is on the internet. Okay, that's the end. So thank you guys for listening, and sit on it for a while.